generation needs a revolution, Jimmy. The American dream is just that. Just a dream. War is a continuation of politics, only by other means. Politics is a continuation of economics by other means. This is our bank. This is our war. And this is our plan of attack.
Banks have become an essential threat to our democracy. So consider this justice.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the internet. Please help support this station so this battle can continue forward. Revolution Radio! The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Barbara Jean Lindsey is an internationally acclaimed psychic, spiritual healer, author, and founder of the online mystery school, Esoteric University. As the Cosmic Oracle, she is a conduit to the powers that be to answer your questions about your future self, past lives, current career, love. She shines light into the darkness to illuminate what was, what may be, and beyond. The readings and advice given by Barbara Jean Lindsey are for entertainment purposes only, should not take the place of any medical, legal, or financial advice given to you by a qualified professional, and are not a substitute for medical, legal, or financial advice. If you need a doctor, call a doctor. If you need to be expanded, call the Cosmic Oracle.
Welcome, everyone. This is your host, Barbara Jean Lindsey, and you're listening to the Cosmic Oracle Show. It is Friday, March 16th, all day long, and we're coming to you live from Northern California, from Plumas Lake, California today. And we're just really happy to be here. There's been a few changes, and I kind of like rolling with change. And as we evolve here as humans on this earth, planet of ours, we have to get better, I think, at rolling with it and moving with it and not getting stuck in some old patterns. So today we're going to be talking about change and how do you work with new information, things that can rock your world. What do you do with those? How do you digest them? Where do you put them so that you feel like you can handle it and then be expanded by it and then be able to move on in a different way in your life and be supported all along the way. So we're going to be talking about some amazing subjects this evening. We have two very amazing, I can't say the word amazing in two sentences, so I would have to say very expanded, visionary guides and very respected emissaries that you'll be listening to this evening. And so we have with us on the show, I'll be calling them shortly, Tolec from the Andromeda Council and Adana. And she gave me this report on where the name of my constellation, where I came from, the name of my home star system, the name of my home planet, the name of my home planet's race of people, and it just goes on and on and on. So she gave me this amazing printout and report of my my family, my star family. And so we're going to talk to her about that. We're also going to be talking about their Tolec's conference coming up, his transformational shift events. So it's going to be a really thought-invoking evening this evening, and I'm really thrilled to have them on. Before I call them, I would like to thank you, the listeners, for being here this evening or this day or whatever, and from wherever you are, from planet Earth and from beyond. You know, we never know who's really listening here. So I want to invite all of you and thank you for being here, here on Revolution Radio, as we are the number one largest internet radio station in the world that is 100% listener supported station. And we're here thanks to you and your generous support in the past for all these years. And now we're really looking forward to being on the air and continuing to be on the air in 2018 and the years to come. And so we have raised so far this month $1,278, and we do need to get to $2,700 per month to keep everything running smoothly on the air. So sounds good. And be assured that every dollar you donate goes directly into keeping this station on the air, as we are an all-volunteer station. So what does that mean, an all-volunteer station? It means that no one gets paid a dime, okay, for their services. We're here, you know, because we feel like it's important, and we have the freedom to talk about whatever we want because we don't get paid for it. So you, the listeners, are a major part of our continued success at getting the truth out. So if you'd like to keep us on the air, we keep it really simple. Just go to freedomslips.com, hit that donate button, and give as much as you can afford. So no amount is too small or too large, and we really, really, truly appreciate your continued support. So without further ado, I am going to get our speakers on the air, and I'm going to see if I can do this. I think I can. So let's see if I can do this. I'm still fairly new to producing my own show, so let's see if we can just pull them in here and add them to the call. I think that's what I need to do. So let's see, where is that? Add them to the call. Here we go. Okay, I think that's how you do it. Let's see. They're probably listening right now, right? So here we go. We will be pulling them in just a moment.
Hello there.
Yes, whoop whoop, and the world goes yay.
Yep,
So, so we're glad you're here this evening, Tolec. I know that's your voice, and you have Adana there with you as well.
yes, she's right here.
I'm here.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, it's been a while since we talked last, so I'm really thrilled that you're on the show, and so I thought I would give them a little background to our listeners about who you are, and I thought we would go ladies first, okay?
I would always agree with that. Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, your background, your story from when Mama passed.
That type of
telepathy.
background.
Yep, so
Yeah.
Hi. The background, my story began when I was a little girl. I was born with inner ear nerve damage to both of my ears. And I did not start wearing hearing aids till I was about 3.5 years old. So with that being said, I came in this way for a reason, so that I could connect back with the heavens a lot easier. When my grandmother passed away at the age of 12, she came back to be my telepathic teacher. She stayed with me for about 7 years until one day my mother said, let Mama go. So when she said that, Mama left. So I didn't see her again until many years later. After Mom passed away, she came back with Mother. And of course, this is part of my telepathy, communications with the heavens. And let's see, when I was about the age of 32, this was back in 1987, the summer of 1987 was also the same year that they had the harmonic conversion. I think it was in August of that year. So in June of 1987, I was sitting in my front window in the house in the country, which is about an hour and a half south of Houston, Texas area. And raining, storming, clouds. I mean, you can't see anything outside at all. But I felt guided to be there. And I asked the Creator, okay, Creator, I'm here. Show me the wonders of the heavens. As soon as those words left my mouth, a scoutcraft sighting of a cigar-shaped craft materialized in front of my house out in the country. And
had you seen crafts before that, Adana, or was that your first sighting?
She said, had you seen any crafts before then, or was that your first sighting?
Actually, this particular craft is my first sighting that led to a triggeration of a previous sighting back when I was 7 years old.
Right. And not only sighting, but pickup. Your
pickup.
Yeah. Let's go back to that, and let's let our listeners know that, Adana, that we have helped with Tolec with this story tonight, and all of our listeners, that you have trouble hearing still, and so that Tolec will help be the go-between for us this evening, correct?
Yeah, thank you, because there's sometimes over reverberation and fuzziness with speakers and computers. So I'll basically provide in short form the question that you asked. So what she
Fantastic.
said, what she said was, I'll help with this process.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah, and the third time today.
Okay.
We did this today earlier a couple of times.
Okay.
And then also that she'd like you to tell the listeners about what happened when you're 7 years old, that whole experience, because it's actually a pretty amazing story.
It looks like it. And part of our work here on this station is people do call in. It's a place for them also not only to hear extraordinary experiences, but to be able to tell and talk about and open up about their experiences as well.
Okay. So she's saying there's some people in a chat room that are going to be providing some comments and questions about their own experiences as you're talking.
Oh, so, absolutely. I'll be happy to. This was, like I said, the triggeration back to when I was the age of 7. It was actually a very, very positive experience, because that particular night, there was a bright light that appeared through the trees. I knew it wasn't a moon. I knew it was not stars, because my bedroom had got brighter in terms of the brightness of the light. And what happened, it was about midnight that I was floating up out of my bed and went through the window. And of course, the window was closed. I mean, it was a screen window. It just actually glided through the window and went up to this circular silver craft that I was boarded upon this craft. And I found myself being led what I call the little people. And the little people, most people would call them the Greys. But in this particular case, it did not feel as if it was negative. It was more positive. In that they had me levitated about a foot off the floor. I wasn't walking. I was being levitated and guided, following them through the control room. I remember the control room. I remember going through the hallway. It was a circular hallway that led me into a circular room, if you will. And this circular room has a silver, I would say about 6 foot in length, probably about a couple of feet wide and about maybe 10 inches thick. And it was suspended in midair. And I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. I'm being levitated like Peter Pan and want to fly like Peter Pan. Can I fly like Peter Pan? And of course, the guy wasn't responding back to me. I just thought that it was fun. And what they did was levitate me onto the platform. And at that particular point, I asked them, what are you doing? Well, they said basically they were healing me. For some reason, I needed some healing. And it turns out that when I look about the room, it was colored lights. It was like balls of light, different colors. And those balls of light and sound frequency, and I was picking up sound frequency as well, along with the color balls of light. What that did was it entered me at certain points in my body to basically work on healing my body. And at that point, it felt really good. Next thing I knew, I was outside the hallway, and it's circular hallway, and I found myself being held by a very tall, I would say about 7'2" type of height, blonde hair, transparent blue eyes, and a very tight-fitted suit. And I felt like he was the leader. And to me, today, it seemed to be that he was the commander of the scoutcraft. And so I asked him where I'm going, and he said, I'm taking you back home. And I said, I don't want to go home. I love it on the ship. It was peaceful. It was calm. And that's my home. And he knelt down and said to me, by telepathy, he said, you have to go back because you have a mission to do. And he explained to me that I will forget for a time to protect me. And until such time that I become an adult, then he promised that they would come back and wake me up. So,
and they did that, right? Because that was your next big, was that your next big contact with them?
Yeah, she's saying that they did come back and essentially wake you up, trigger you, and that this was the next contact in '87. That was the triggering event.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Exactly. It was the triggeration event because I remember them beaming me back down, and as I was being beamed back down, I began to remember less of the contact at that point. It just went away, and the next thing I know, I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I knew that there was missing time between midnight and 6. But I couldn't put my finger on it. I also knew as I was growing up throughout my childhood life that I was sense I was being watched and protected. So I was at peace about that, as a child.
Yeah. And I read your background too, where you spoke and said that you didn't feel like you ever really fit in here. And I know a lot of our listeners who have been contacted or contactees can relate with you with this.
Right. I throughout my childhood life, I felt like I was different, and I knew it didn't have anything to do with my hearing disability. I knew it was much deeper than that, but I couldn't place my finger on it at that particular time. I could not understand why humanity act and think and do what they do throughout their lives. Why do we have wars? Why do we have all of these challenges that we faced in life? And I could not understand it. I wanted everything to be at peace. I want people to be able to accept each other for who they are, and to allow themselves the freedom to just be. And nobody has taught me that. It's just some deeper part of myself as a child growing up had these feelings. Also, for y'all's information, I grew up in the aviation business. My parents were the pioneers that established east side of Hobby Airport in Houston, Texas. So, we started out with one hangar, and it grew to a 4-hangar operation, which completes with a mechanic shop, a radio shop, the fuel, the jet fuel for the airplanes. We were the owners of the jet fuel on the airport. So that we're not only fueling the small planes, we were fueling the airliners. And on top of that, we were requested by the president's plane, which was at that particular time was President Gerald Ford, who landed in Elton Air Force Base. And we fueled his plane. That alone tells me a lot about the severity of the identifiable implants that I know of that time period. So what I have seen as far as the circular scout craft, as well as the cigar-shaped craft, I knew that these were not balloons or any other kind of available, I should say, excuses in terms of things that happened,
It wasn't swamp gas, okay?
Right.
And they were not they also were not fixed wing aircraft. They didn't look like planes.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was really interesting because there was one, I wish I had kept an article. There was one image of a cigar-shaped craft with 5 rectangular windows that someone else had drew and posted, but that's like 30 plus years ago. So I tried to find the article, could not find it now. But at the time of the 1987 sighting that had occurred in front of my house, 3 weeks later, a mothership the size of a football field materialized just about 5 miles from where I lived in a little town called Bay City. And it was cruising very slowly, heading toward the South Texas Nuclear Project. Civilians and police officers saw this craft, size of a football field, cruising slowly toward the nuclear power plant. I tried to find that article. Nowadays, it disappeared. I could not find Bay City Tribune articles. They did post the article the next day after it occurred, but after that, it's gone. So there's no way to be able to share that with all of you, and that was that.
Right.
There might be some listeners that were there because this goes out everywhere. You never know, put it out there and it could, but we also don't have to have it in paper. And that's part of our work is helping people, have this experience and know that it's real and a validation. Because you feel it, the feeling of knowingness of it that happens. Go ahead, Tolec.
That's very true. 1987 was a really interesting year for her, but so is like 1988. I think it's relevant timeline-wise because you have those photographs of when you were up at Bell Rock and Shiprock.
Right.
And tell everybody, they're pretty amazing.
Okay.
And our listeners can see these photos on her website, on Adona's website too. And you can check it out. And that's at starancestry.com. Is that correct? I think I have it in front of me somewhere.
Right. Right.
Yes.
The photos are on the About page where Adana tells her story. So actually people can click on that and they can see the photo she's about to describe.
Okay. Since 1987, of course, as you well know, is the fact that my telepathy started back up again. And you know, I get visions and dreams and the whole 9 yards after that. So I wasn't the same person as I was at that point in time. It's kind of like the old Donna died and the new Donna become an awareness in the situation. So in 1988, as my Adana self came to be, a friend of mine that I decided to take a trip up to Sedona, Arizona. She was in her 70s at that point in time. And we went up to Red Rock, one of the vortexes in Sedona. And I had a Polaroid 600, which actually is the type of camera that can produce a ready-made picture right there. And so my Pleiadian commander at that particular time instructed me to take the picture of the sun. And I asked him, why do I need to take a picture of the sun? He said that it would open the door. It's like the properties of the sun creates a portal between dimensions. And he said, when I say for you to take the picture, you take the picture. So I followed his instructions and I took the picture. And in the portal picture is a multidimensional being that stands at the doorway.
Yeah, it's quite a photo. You can see it. It's pretty amazing. I posted it in our chat room, and so that our people in the chat room can see it. It's in Bell Rock. It looks like it has very square shoulders. It's just real apparent, right? When you developed it later, did you have the experience when you saw it, or did you look at it after the photo was developed?
Well,
okay, what happened was I couldn't see anything in front of me. First of all, there was nobody standing in front of me. My friend was behind me, and she was a witness to this. So when the picture developed right then and there, and we both looked at it, you know, we were just like surprised to see a being standing in the doorway. We go, wow. And, you know, and my Pleiadian commander said, this is not really for you because you've always been in contact with us all the time. This is for humanity to know and to experience the fact that we're not alone in the universe. We have star families that are in our presence. When we reach the level of our vibrational level, we'll be able to see them too. So this is his way of saying, here, people, we're here. We're right here. It's just like being next door to your neighbor. It's just that kind of feeling. So
if you're able to raise your vibration enough to at least meet their vibration, is that or higher, then you can have that communication much more readily.
Yeah, what she said was if people are able to raise their vibration, they're much more readily, more easily able to communicate with people in the higher dimensions.
Yes, because one of the things that I have discovered as I went about my journey at that point in time in my life is that I was already open and entrusting in myself, trusting in my guides, trusting in my Creator to show me the wonders of the heavens. I was ready because they will not come to us unless we're ready. We have to be physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually in alignment. Once we're in alignment within ourselves, then that door opens, because they did not want us to be, how should I say, have any physical discomfort in terms of, something that we're not familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
We like, okay, for example, we're used to cars. We've been brought up on cars. We've been brought up on airplanes. We've been brought up on boats. So, it's a common everyday occurrence for all of us. But when you see something like UFOs, or see something that is not of the norm, then, the body is not used to that type of feeling. And so they are very careful about where we're at in terms of our ability to handle new things that coming into the picture. And so they have always have an assigned medical team of people that are, working with the emotional body, working with the physical body, working with, the spiritual body, and to make sure that everybody's, at the right moment, at the right time, when their soul calls for it. If their soul calls for it, I want to experience this manifestation, they're going to arrange it to make sure everything is in alignment so they can handle it, for that to materialize within them.
And so sometimes, like if you started at 7 and when you're 37, or in 1987 when you were 32, all this time where you're acclimated to this process, so it's out of respect and honor for you. So, you don't freak out or don't lose it. And they, where you can remember too that this is something that you agreed to be a part of this to help humanity, to help serve humanity, and step into this new empowerment of yourself, or your higher self, or this other part of yourself. I'm looking forward to how you put it in your words of how you embrace this other aspect of yourself, not only as an earth being in a human body, but also as an interdimensional ambassador or telepath, or so I'll give the floor back to you on that.
And all the things that you went to she's talking about what kind of emotional place and what kind of higher acknowledgement place did you come to understand that your life was different and you have a job here, you have a mission here, not just to be a wife and a mother and all that stuff.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is how do I explain this? In centuries past, it's not the first time that we as humanity go through this cycle like we've had. Centuries past, we have seers and revelators. All the enlightened beings have gone through that period of adjustment and changes in the lives. The same thing is happening in my own life. I started out awakening when I was a kid, and then there's a silence for a time. I had to learn about Earth life. So when I'm from 18 to 32, all I was learning about was the lessons I needed to learn, experiences that need to be had. All of these things come to a point in the time when I was 32, we call the readiness. The soul itself, it was ready to take that next level of journey.
And it makes you a good communicator because you know what it's like to actually be on Earth, what it's like to have a body, what it's like to go to work, what it's like to, eat and breathe, and all of those adaptation skills and communication skills that you can bring to the table, right, to make you an extremely powerful communicator.
Well, thank you. It makes it easier for me. Now, to some people, they're not quite there yet in terms of learning to go over the end to become a telepath. It comes with time. It comes with practice. As you well know, for 7 years, I've been practicing this telepathy with my grandmother. So I'm used to that. And it seems like it's kind of funny because when I came into this world, I didn't hear for my first 3 years of my life. So I think telepathy was my first language, if you will.
Yeah, that makes total sense. That makes absolute sense.
Right. And so when they started to put me in special education to try to catch up with the rest of humanity in terms of speech, it wasn't easy. It was like English is foreign language to me. And so
yes. And it's probably more primitive, right? And it's slower, right?
Right. So 14 years, I had to master that till I was 17 years old, where I finally mastered the language itself so that I can communicate with humanity in a greater way for my mission. Of course, at that particular time, I knew I had a mission, but I didn't know what it was. It was not until in my 30s what they've done with me as far as my guides are concerned, my star families is concerned, they were taking me one step at a time because they did not want to overload me with a lot of information. So they started me out with telepathy. Once I mastered that, then they were teaching me how to work with the ley lines of Mother Earth with crystal staffs made out of copper and crystal. That was the next step in working with Mother Earth's energies. So I've done that for several years until they finally said, okay, you're done with it for a while. Then I went into a period of working on my own personal life. You come out for a time, you speak for a time, you come back and retreat for a time to work on other things that needed to be worked on. So that's what happened to me. And then I finally came out again when Tolec came back and found me, of all places. Yeah, that was interesting how he managed to find me because only one person on this planet knows where I'm at. Nobody else knew where I was.
I'm pretty good at that.
So he found me and said, okay, you ready to come back into your telepathy communication? I'm going,
check.
Okay.
Yeah. We had met back in 94, 95 in Tucson. And struck up a friendship there because a mutual friend of ours, Atreya, who at that time owned a small retail shop called Angels from Heaven.
That's right.
Right. So we struck up a friendship in Atreya's shop, in this Angels from Heaven shop. And Adana did other things in her life. And then I had other things going on. In essence, we became really close friends. Can you give me a second, please?
Sure. And so you and Adana, you and Tolec are family, right? And that's what I remember reading that you're part, that you're his sister from his.
Adopted. We're like a lot of people. Many families have things like, oh yeah, this is my Uncle Frank and my Aunt Jenny. They're not really aunt and uncle. Your friends, your parents have had these close friends for years and you call them aunt and uncle. Well, the same Donna. We became such good close friends that basically I've become her brother. I've become her brother. She's become my sister, and we've been helping each other for many years in terms of communication. She's been, my telepathic skills are okay, but she's off the hook.
She's got it down. She's got it down.
A 100% clear, open, conscious telepath. If she needs to ask questions, she just goes, "Hey, what about this? Or what about this? What about this?" And she gets as much information and as many photos and clips and details as she asks for. The more detailed the question, the more detailed the answers. And so to get back to the story, her life was busy in the 90s. She had some personal things going on. My life was, of course, busy. And then in 2008, I found you through Ann Ulrich Miller from the Star Beacon newsletter in Colorado.
Right.
Because I knew that she and Ann were good friends. And I'm like, "Hey, Ann, I'm trying to track down Adana." "Oh, yeah, she's here and here, and she moved there." And so finally reconnected. And Adana and I were having a conversation one summer evening. I think it was in June, in the summer of 2008. I was in the greater Prescott Valley, Dewey area, and we were having a conversation one night. I was sitting out in the chair looking at the stars. I had gone for a walk earlier in the day and had this pretty amazing experience. Make a long story short, I looked up in the sky, and after being stubborn and finally looking up, because I was hearing an inner prompting, a nudging from this voice that I recognized, and he's like, "Will you please look up?" So I looked up, and there was this image that the gentleman we know, who's the commander of the primary Andromeda Council biosphere and the other 11 ones, he had used whatever technology he used to take clouds and create a profile of a Native American warrior. And that was the beginning of the remembering of my own experiences. And as I show this photo at different conferences, you can clearly see the headband, his hair over his head, the cheekbones, the eye sockets, the nose, the mouth, the jawline, everything. It's as clear as that photo we just sent to you with the little.
Yes, I love that one.
Face.
Yes.
And feel free to share that with people listening, because Adana got that one in the Cochise stronghold last week.
Wow.
So to bring that story back to center, Adana and I were talking, and I said, what is going on? I took this walk today, and this guy contacted me again, and she basically said, they're telling me that you're going to be having contact with people from M331. Said, "Hang on a second. Are you saying M31? She's like, "Yeah." I said, "That's the Andromeda Galaxy." She's like, "Oh, those are the people they're going to be in contact with really soon." So that's 2008, and the contact, like the conscious contact, happened in 2010 in September.
Right.
And that was the trigger moment for a whole bunch of memories of pickup experiences. And there's a couple of similarities. I was picked up in 1993, and I went back in time to an area of Western Kentucky, something like that, West Virginia, Western Kentucky, in the 1840s. I was right around the same age when Adana started her remembering. When I was picked up in 93, I was like 31 or 32 years old. It was a different year, but it was the same reference period as to when Donna's memories started getting triggered.
Wow.
She was 32, I was 31 or 32. Those seem to be critical kind of jump point years for people to.
Yeah, I was 37 when my whole download came.
Okay. So yeah, typically people in their 30s. Yeah.
In their 30s. So. I was busy with 3 kids, so maybe that's why it was a little later.
Got it.
Right. That's understandable.
But please continue. Please continue.
It's okay. If we fast forward to September of 2010 through early April of 2011, I had a whole bunch of contact, and Donna was my primary telepathic facilitator, and I would have these dreams, and I'd get images, and I was getting like 3.5 hours sleep at night, and they kept picking me up between like 2:30 and 5:30 in the morning, and it was nuts. That continued for like 3 straight summers. In Arizona, summer starts in April, so like from April through September for 3 straight years. Pick up information, downloads, questions, Donna and I talking, and that birthed the Andromeda Council website in late April, the last week of April 2011. And
that's at AndromedaCouncil.com, right?
Right. I think that the biggest thing, there's been, of course, a lot of work on my part, on Adona's part, between then and now. But, you know, for people that might have any questions, A, there's a frequently asked questions page. B, I think the topics that made it stick for us, that made a real impact, was the fact that our brother, who's the commander of the Primary Andromeda Council Biosphere, and Nahishka, head of defense, said, we are attacking these undersea reptilian bases run by the Draco reptilians and Hydra reptilians and Sirius B reptilians. We're attacking them. There's 15 left. We're going to either shutter, destroy, clean them out, collapse them, but it's our job, the people from the Procyon star system, to shut down these bases. It's time that the people of Earth are free to live their lives unfettered.
And that would be with Marduk? Would that?
Well, Marduk was taken out just recently. He's officially gone. But the people that were in those bases, rather the beings, reptilian beings, there were the equivalent of generals and colonels and regular military grade soldiers, administrative people, operations people, family members, tens of thousands of reptilians that were in these bases, primarily underwater. And if the people go to the Andromeda Council website and they click on the Reptilian Undersea Base link, they can get all of that information, all of that data, how many beings were there. But the point of the story really is that we would announce this information. I was getting interviewed by Alfred Weber at the time. We would announce the information, and we would say, in another 3 or 4 days at around this time, there will be an event in this area. One of them was the Arabian Sea. There'll be an event later on in this area, in the India Ocean area. And almost exactly to the moment, to the day, to the hour, there would be either an earthquake or series of earthquakes that would confirm exactly when the destruction of that day of those bases was to take place. And it happened 3 times in a row, exactly on the money. And the fourth time, it took a little while because that was the base that was off the coast of Washington, D.C., out on the Atlantic Ridge. And it was heavily camouflaged. So it took them quite a few days to actually zero in on that thing. But they finally took that base out as well. And so it was, even though this was an early period of mine in doing that work, I was having some of the first, like what we call vestiges of confirmation, that they were doing what they told us they would do exactly on the days that they said they would do it, which is pretty astounding when you think about it.
Yeah, that would get my attention for sure.
Yeah. And I said to Adana, I think after the first 6 or 7 months, I'm like, I'm exhausted and I'm tired of being a war reporter.
Yeah.
The commander said, we're almost done. You know, this job's almost finished. You know, your work will evolve. And here I am 7 years later. And
wow.
My work has evolved, and I'm doing different things these days, but it's still rewarding.
And so you're actually doing what your mission is here, and it keeps growing and changing as you grow and change and evolve.
Yeah. I learned through my communication with Adana that when I was like a year and a half or so, a year and a quarter, apparently, and Mom tells the story. Oh, you were a very sickly baby, and I had to love you and care for you when I brought you home, and you were very sickly, and of course, I'm like, yes, Mom, I love you too. But apparently, the soul fractal that inhabited this body died. Sorry, let me try this differently. The body that I have today experienced a near-death experience at 1.5 years. And a new soul fractal came in and took over running this body, because that new soul fractal was more enlightened, and it was the contract that was put in place that he was supposed to come in, and take over this body. And there are a lot of people, Donna, wouldn't you say there are a lot of people who are contactees that have had a near-death experience of some type?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm one of those. And you have a relationship with death too, and it opens all that up, and what we've been conditioned to believe about that as well, So
Right. As he mentioned that what happened to him, it's just like what happened to me back in the 1987 sighting, because I recall after the sighting happened, after that particular day happened, I felt like internally I was dying. So I knew that my soul, my original soul, was leaving me. And a new soul came in, because I knew I was different. Everybody in the family noticed I was different. They couldn't handle what the changes I have come into. They could not understand it. So I had no way of explaining to them, because I was living in a small town where there's nobody around, and especially in a very, how should I say, south.
a small fish pond, right?
Exactly. So I did not have any help of any kind to get adjustment made in this sense. So I had to do it by trusting my guys to help me walk through it. It wasn't easy for me in those days. You don't talk about walk-ins. You don't talk about UFOs. Those were the time and period of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. You just don't talk about those type of things. In fact, my father was a retired United States Air Force lieutenant colonel.
And a pilot.
Pilot.
Too, yeah, pilot, yeah.
And I asked him after the sighting happened, and I shared with my parents what I had seen. My mother reacted immediately like, "Oh no, you should not be talking about this." And my father, I went to him and said, Dad, he said, "Have you had experiences with UFOs?" He immediately said, "I am still under oath. I am not going to reveal to you anything." I said, "Oh, your daughter here." He said, "Nope, he's not going to do it." But I knew that he knows something about it, because his plane was a reconnaissance plane. So B-17 Lincoln Lena is actually a reconnaissance plane. So there are things that they have seen they can't tell, even though he's retired.
Right.
And to this day, he's 90 years old. He's still retired. He's not going to say anything to me about it. So anyway, it's kind of interesting how all of this is being played out. And all of the experiences that I've had, not only did I have experiences with skycraft, I also had experiences with manifestations like 10-foot ball of golden light in front of Shipwalk, New Mexico.
Ooh.
And I had people with me, I had a couple guys with me. I said, "Hey, look, in broad daylight, a ball of light materialized in front of me. They couldn't see it, but I could see it." And then immediately after that happened, on the side of Shipwalk, New Mexico, was a blue beam of light materialized. And to me, my understanding is a beam, a ship going up or beaming people down.
I like that photograph of Shiprock with that.
Yeah.
You seen that one? Stairway Down?
Yes. He has to.
What I call stairways to heaven.
Good one.
That was the first time when I saw it being produced and looking at it. And the first song came to my head was Led Zeppelin, Stairways to Heaven. And I'm like, okay, I get the picture.
Got it.
I always like that song.
So tell her what's inside Shiprock. Why is that staircase?
Well, because in the other dimension there is an underground city under Shiprock. And another thing that I was told by one of the local people there happened to be Native American, said it's a very, very sacred, holy ground there. So they have lots of things happening, and manifestations in that area. Well,
I love that. And so you have built through the years also a relationship with the earth, and so you could ground the earth grounding and reach out to the cosmos and be that conduit in between all of that. It's really amazing to run all that through a body and give it words,
Yeah, she said over the years you've been acting as a telepathic communicator, but also using your staff and doing energy work on the land. You've been able to do both.
Well, yeah. There was a couple of interesting experiences that have occurred. I'm happy to share with you. And one happened during the daytime, one happened during the nighttime.
Okay, well, I have to hold on to that. I think we should be going on to break in just a minute now. And so can we have you hold on to those two experiences till after the break?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so everyone stay tuned. We're headed to the break. I don't know if it's quite started or not, but when we come back, we'll have Adana talk about her experiences, these two new experiences at Shiprock, and then also we'll be talking about the Andromeda Council and Tolec's upcoming conferences. And
in breaking news,
right
a visiting Syrian diplomat reported today that their population is evolving rapidly and advancing into a fifth dimensional consciousness. They are seeking peace with all cosmic cultures, which may mean that the Earth will be asked to join the prestigious Galactic Federation of Light Alliances. Please join Debbie West and Michael Hathaway on Lost Knowledge, Saturdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Studio A, for the latest breaking news on the Star Visitors' peaceful contact and the ongoing project of cleansing the Earth.
Who are you? I am the architect. I created the Matrix. I've been waiting for you. Why am I here? You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision, which has led you inexorably here. You haven't answered my question. The Matrix is older than you know. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equation. Choice. The problem is choice.
Right here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. Be here Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Private Eye Matrix Revealed with Monique Lassonde.
Hello, my name is Mr. Rowe. I am the host of Reality Extraction. on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I utilize logic, intellect, and magic to methodically atomize, vivisect, analyze, examine, study, scrutinize, and extract an essence of reality from a fog of illusion and confusion. You can find me on Studio B every Thursday at 1700 hours Pacific Time. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. No topic taboo, no subject too strange. I strive to take a neutral standpoint during the dissection of the topic at hand. That's Reality Extraction with Mr. Rowe on Revolution Radio.
This is Thomas, a.k.a. a Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs to government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Most guys freeze. That's your cerebral cortex looking for an answer it doesn't have.
See? Even your brain knows you're screwed.
The body's filling with adrenaline right now, whether you know it or not. The heart's beating fast. It's getting a little harder to breathe. The neurobiological system is telling it to run, but your knees are too weak to move.
Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. We are all telling ourselves a story.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. 100% listener-supported radio. Reporting the danger. Unafraid. Right here, where information never sleeps. Revolution. Radio.
Hello, this is Maggie Rose McGrath of The Concord Show.
And co-host Marine Corps Map, coming to you on Monday and Tuesdays in Studio A, noon to 2 Eastern.
And Studio B on Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern, with educational, instructional, information, and situational update, often with wonderful guests on the current landscape in the U.S. and overseas.
This is a go.
We are with you, side to side, and back to back.
Please join us on Monday through Wednesdays,
as well as other hosts and guests here on Revolution Radio.
We're not gonna take it anymore. That's right, we're not gonna take it anymore. We said we're not gonna take it anymore. That's right, we're not gonna take it anymore.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
This is your host, Barbara Jean Lindsey. Welcome back to the Cosmic Oracle Show. And we have with us, and we have two amazing guests, and we'll continue our conversation. It's kind of like we're taking it kind of nice and easy, like old friends hanging out. It's like family or star family meeting up again after all these years and talking about how they've been acclimated to do their work here, their mission here on Earth. And we have with us Adana, who is a telepath, and she works with people in informing Earth people of their star ancestry. So we'll get into that after she tells us and continues her stories that she was talking about, her amazing, extraordinary stories. And we have Tolec with us too, from the Andromeda Council, and his work here and his mission on Earth and his upcoming conferences. Welcome back, Adana. Welcome back, Tolec.
Thank you for
thank
having us back on the show.
Yep.
It's
always a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure to have the two of you. And I do want to let our listeners know that if they would like to donate to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, that's all they have to do is go to freedomslips.com, push that donate button, and we really appreciate it keeping us on the air. And there's no amount too small or too large. And we really thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your generosity in advance. So shall we continue then, Adana, with your stories that you were going to explain to us and visualize? I can visualize it while you're talking. So,
okay, what I wanted to share with all of you is how they trained me. I'm making this short and brief. It's about that when they teach me new skills to work with the earth, like what I'm about to tell you about the crystal staff, is that they always put me in practice session first before they even had me touch the crystal staff. And so they said, okay, I'm going to have you down on the carpet. And so I'm down on the carpet in a lotus position, and they said, okay, I want you to breathe in and breathe out. You're bringing in the energies of the higher, purest form of energies into your body. I said, okay, I can do that. So I breathed in the energies. Once I got the breathing practice down, they said, okay, I want you to use the Sanskrit word Om, O-M. And I said, okay. So I breathe in and breathe out, and I would do the Om. So this went on for about 3 or 4 times till my body get acclimated to the energies. What happened is that it opened the doorway. It opens the energy patterns of the ship beaming down the energies through my body and to the earth. But the key is to be able to hold on to it, because when they hit me with like a ton of bricks, it's like sitting on a massage chair in a beauty shop. You cranked up the massage to the max, right? You get this coarse energy vibration. That's how strong it is. And what happened, the first practice session I had with them, is that it was so strong that my head bounced off the carpet. And I said, why didn't you tell me that this was going to happen? If we had told you, you wouldn't practice now, will you? I said, no, I wouldn't have done it if I had known that I was going to be banging my head against the carpet. And so this is their way of getting me to feel that strong vibrations of the highest pure energies coming through me. So the next step was to build the staff. And so I had a 5-foot copper from Home Depot. Then I purchased a double terminator crystal for the top. And I put it together and formed it into a Native American inspired type of staff. And so, unbeknownst to me, they would have me practice out on full moon, because I never know when full moon happens. They just get up and go. And so I get up and go outside, and I do the practice breathing and bring in the Om. The very first time it happened, boy, talking about hanging on to that staff, otherwise I would be knocked down to the ground. That's how strong those energies were. And so, with that being said, they take the instructions to me step by step, and making sure that I'm able to handle it. So by the time I started to do the work on Bell Walk, I had a couple of guys with me back in 1990. It was the broad daylight. It was clear as a bell, no clouds in the sky. It was the middle of the summer. And I told the man, I said, you go off and go somewhere. I have to go do this work by myself because I did not want other people get affected by the vibrations. So I went up to the base of Bell Walk and I did the breathing and the Om, and the energy came in full force. Once it goes through me, it starts to become less and less and less. Then it finally calms down, and I usually shut it down, and then I get off Bell Walk. And I told the two guys, I said, guess what? They said, what? It's going to rain within an hour and a half, 2 hours. They looked at each other, thought I was crazy.
Yeah, especially in the desert, right?
Exactly. It was clear day, not a cloud in the sky. We left immediately and headed toward Northwest Phoenix, which is about an hour and a half drive. And we got in, and I noticed the clouds started forming. And we went inside the building, and you hear this thunder, and you hear this rain pouring down. And so I went over to the guys and I said, you hear that? They said, yeah. It's raining, right? They said, we got to go see for ourselves. So they went out to the front door. Sure enough, it's raining. I said, I told you it's going to rain within an hour and a half, 2 hours, because the ley line went from Bell Walk to Northwest Phoenix. It needed to be cleared out of all the impurities and, negativities to restore that ley lines in that area. So that's how it is with the work that I did during the daytime. The same experience happened at nighttime. This was a different time period. It was in the middle of the summer. It was another friend of mine who said, how would you like to work with your staff? We finish our work and we could go up the hills and you can, work with your staff. And I said, okay. So we were above Sedona. I don't remember where we were, but I do remember there was a concert being held down below. It was a clear sky, dark night sky, stars are out. I found a medicine wheel. I cleared myself out. I go in the medicine wheel and started the work, and the whole energy was coming through me. And my Pleiadian commander shouted in my ear, said, look up. And I yelled at my ex-partner behind me and said, look up. 12 ships came out of nowhere from our four corners of the earth and made a perfect circle above our heads. And we were watching this. And I continued to do the work. But there was a gentleman came out of the woods saying, would you please be quiet? We're trying to sleep. So I had to shut down cold turkey, and the ship went back across the sky from where they came from, where they were positioned.
Yeah, there's a lot of state Arizona and BLM land up here in and around the Sedona Creek areas. Guys were out camping.
I guess so. No, they were out camping, but I guess they woke them up.
Yeah, you probably awakened them in several different ways, though, right?
Yeah, probably.
Well, the last information I wanted to share with you has just came about recently on this past Sunday. I was with Starlaffy Fox, who's a dear friend of mine, at the Dakote Stronghold in southern Arizona. And she took me there. We did some work, and I had my cell phone with me, and I took a picture. The sun was behind me, and my guy said, well, just put your cell phone up above your head and do your best to point toward the sun. I said, okay. I've never done it this way before, but okay, I'll do what you tell me to do. So I clicked on the on the button on the cell phone, and what came out was an image of a cat.
Yeah, that's that.
I see that. It's pretty amazing.
And Star Laughing Fox reacted, and she said, "That's my Panther of the West." So
the Panther of I didn't hear that part. Panther of the
West.
Of the West. Okay.
West.
Of the West. That's part of the Native American spirit animals. And she reacted when she saw that. That's my Panther. And I said, really? And this is really so cool. I never know what's going to show up in those pictures. I just know that when we are open to it in terms of not limiting what we want to see, but to allow our guys to show us what they want for us to see, then a manifestation comes in a lot easier.
So you've established some trust, right? You've established a relationship with trust.
She said it's because of an established trust relationship between you and them.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Go ahead, Tolec.
Some other photos that she took, and those photos are clearly an indication of the sun as a multidimensional portal, because there are all of these like diamond-shaped,
diamond-shaped,
multicolored rays.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't see them if you just looked at the sun.
Right.
What these smartphone cameras can do with those lenses that we don't see, they capture. And as she indicated earlier, when she took this photo, she didn't see that cloud-created image of a panther up in the sky.
No, I didn't.
Couldn't see it with the human eye.
No, I didn't.
And it's smiling at you too. That's the part I like.
Yeah, it's cute little grin. Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
after all these years, they have continued to amaze me, surprise me when I least expect it. With images, with manifestations. I've experienced all kinds of things because, like I said, I'm open to receive the manifestations. I have no fear at all in terms of what they want to show me. I've seen balls of light. I've seen spiritual flame. I've seen images of beings. You name it. We all, as human beings, at this point in time, they too can experience what we can experience.
Oh, did we drop you? Oh, there you are.
No, we're still here.
Okay, great. Just felt like I dropped you for a moment there.
Yeah, what was the last thing you heard?
Just where she was just starting to look, and that we are open to receiving the different pictures. So it was a minute.
She was essentially saying that probably more than any other time in human history,
exactly.
more and more people are seeing things with their own eyes, and B, because of smart cameras, people are also seeing things they would have never seen before because of these smartphones, these cell phones.
Yeah. And I like the idea of using the sun as a portal. I haven't heard that before either. So I'm sure our listeners can use that information for themselves, So that's
we were told that the sun is a multidimensional portal. We've known this information for at least 5 or 6 years, and that's actually the way that a lot of the races who have certainly higher technology, all they have to do is attenuate the vibration of their ship to the same address. There are different addresses within the different portals in the sun. So all they have to do is attenuate their ship's address to one of the doorways in the sun. get their ship to match that particular frequency, and then they just pop through. Yeah.
So it's an interdimensional porter right in the sun.
Right. And so they come from way far away. They just dial in coordinates, come through.
And they've been doing that for how long, though, right?
thousands and thousands
yes.
of years. Yeah.
Yes.
Time. Yeah. You were going to say something.
I was going to say that, think of Earth. We have ley line and grid system vortexes points within the Earth. So does the universe. The universe has its own pathways, ley lines, vortexes within the universe, and basically what I call the stargates. So, as Tolec was saying, they could dial up and go from point A to point B, in a split second.
Right. And we saw this when you and I were in living in the Chihuahua Desert in Southwest Texas. Sit in the back porch at night, look in the eastern sky, and we'd actually see what looked to be higher dimensional ships that would jump from gate to gate to gate to gate.
Yeah,
so they would gate A, gate B, gate C, gate D, go blip, blip, blip.
And we saw that.
And, parenthetically, we'd be looking at 6 inches, say 8 inches of sky at night. And they'd blip at point A, and they disappear, and then blip at point B, and then disappear, and then blip at point C and disappear. They were jumping. They were jumping from gate address to address to address to address.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just thinking, too, by seeing it, then you... okay, so there's the third dimension where we are physically having this perspective, and also then when we pop out of the body and go out of body to that inner dimension, is that kind of what I'm going to bring it all the way around here? Bring it when you do your work, Adana, when you do a report, let's say for someone. We're going to bring it around to that now.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure. I'll relay the question that you're asking.
Okay.
She said, in order to bring this topic about higher dimensional life and interdimensional life in connection to 3D, how is it that you're able to do your work telepathically to people in the higher dimensions, like Azar, who is the chief medical officer? Because you're able to get information about Earth people and their origin in the stars. She's asking, how do you do that? How do you get that information higher dimensionally?
Okay. First of all, Azar, who happens to be my chief medical officer, she's in charge of all the Solas's records aboard the ship, aboard the biosphere, the archival records. In connection with her, in secure channel is the information that's provided to me with the people's name and birthday and where they lived, so that she could access those records. And then she gave me images, movie clips, and telepathic conversation, if you will, to tell me about this person and where this person has come from. Do they have family? What type of planet it is? The geographical, topical areas of that planet, how many moons, what their status was in that particular planet. I know that we are multidimensional beings. I mean, we have facets of our soul everywhere in the universe.
Right.
But it probably would be overwhelming trying to track all of them down. It's just probably overload people with short-circuited with the information. So the information that is meant for the person to know at this moment in time, for whatever reason that the person has to know about that war. For example, where we come from, Tolec and I come from the same planet called Dakote, from Taygeta star and the Pleiadians. So,
and I come from that. from getting the Ancestry chart reading from you, Adana, I also come from there. So
there you go. And
There you go.
and if I may interject for a moment,
yes,
on that planet, on Dakote, we are actually brother and sister on that planet. On this planet,
okay.
we're not physically related. We weren't born into the same family. On that planet, we were. So we're like stuck with each other.
I feel a kinship, okay?
That whole brother-sister thing. And I don't know if people, and here's my B commentary. I don't know if people caught this, but when I'll create a fictitious name, let's say there's a Jennifer Jones out there, and Jennifer would like to know about her own unique star origin and ancestry. The only information that person provides, whether it's a Jennifer Jones or a Thomas James, each person provides their name at birth, their gender, where they were born, the city that they were born, the date that they were born, and where they live today. That's it. That's all the information that each person gives to Adana. And then she takes that information and she communicates with Azar, the chief medical officer. And Azar goes to her computer and goes, okay, this person. And she looks at the whole soul record. That's, just in case people were curious, well, how much do I need to share about who I am on this planet? It's really baseline information.
Yeah, because you want to have a zero in of the soul as this energy signature. You may have the same name, but they would be a different city or born a different time. We want to be accurate in making sure it's narrowed down to that person.
Right.
Yeah. The only analogy I can give is like doing psychic readings is where I tune into a specific place and you get a download. And I just see you doing it that way at a much larger scale and a much higher vibration. And it's where you just get the download and you have the hookup already. It's like it's just a natural hookup because you've worked for that, you've acclimated to that, and it is your mission. So you're like in sync with it.
Right, and AT&T is not involved at all. There's no long distance call. She just goes, "Hey, Azar, how about this person?" And you go, download.
Yeah, I know. I got 13 pages or something like that. Okay, so I really do encourage our listeners to get a reading from you, Adana, because it really does open up some doors so that you can own this part of yourself that maybe you were afraid to look at or you were in denial, but it is a life changer.
Yeah, to the tune of, and I like to beat Adana's drum because I'm her brother. To the tune of now 900 people across the globe from 51 countries. And here's the kicker, in a year and 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that she's been able to help 900 plus people from 51 countries across the globe in a year and 3 months that she's been doing this work formally. I just think that's astounding.
It is outstanding. It's outstanding and astounding.
And
that tells you that she's has her pulse right on the planet. The pulse, you're doing the right thing, and that is that grace as well. You're doing the right thing, and you can feel, Adana, from my end, I'm sure our listeners, your passion that you have for your work as well.
Yeah, I can tell you that, yes, she's very passionate about the work. Because when she does it, she usually does it in 6 to 7 hours at a stretch, and it's constant downloads of energy. So when she's done, it's like, I need a break.
I need to eat something. That's where I would be.
I need to sleep, whatever. The other thing I can tell you is because I help her with the administrative and operational end of things, her accuracy percentile hit ratio is like, it's at least 97 or 98% at least, because I think out of those 900 some odd people, you've had 4 or 5 people that have said, not so much. I don't quite resonate with this, but maybe my wife. This could be my wife, or this could be my best friend. But only 4 or 5 people out of 900, and the other 890 something are saying, boy, did you nail me. I've always felt Pleiadian, or I've always felt Arcturian. I've always felt that I'm from the Betelgeuse system. Or hundreds and hundreds of people have come back and said, thank you so much. You confirmed what I've been thinking and feeling over the course of years. So it's pretty amazing from my end to watch the high, use a baseball term, high batting average, which is off the charts, of accuracy that she has, which is a testament to the work that she's doing. I'm always astounded.
Well, and like with the staff that you use, Adana, to harness that energy and that power for healing into the earth, it's like you're harnessing that power also to help raise and encourage humanity, to give them their real future on the earth, what it really is, and where they really come from and who they are. And it's pretty profound.
Yeah, there were some people that wrote testimonials for Adana, and you could almost see the tears coming out of their eyes as they were writing, because of how strong the confirmation was, not only for women, but for men also. Men who'd wondered for years what they're all about and why they're here. And all of a sudden they get this comprehensive answer.
What I also found too, in addition to that, is I was really amazed and surprised that there were some countries out there that I have not even thought of that would be awakened. I was just astounded.
I was going to ask you that, because there has to be. You must have learned so much yourself you're like a walking encyclopedia of what's out there now, right? Because so much has come through you and out of you.
Cyprus, Greece, Russia, Turkey, Thailand, Saudi Arabia, Australia, England, Canada, Mexico, Costa Rica,
Cook Islands,
and the Cook Islands.
In the middle of the ocean.
Somewhere between Australia and a spit of sand somewhere else is this little teeny island called the Cook Islands. So we're like, what?
We couldn't figure out how did you find it? Well, we do have internet on the island, right. and we found Andromeda Council, and we found Star Ancestry. And okay.
I'm like, the Cook Islands? But like, take a look. Go Google Maps sometime and see where the Cook Islands is. There's nothing out there. They're in the middle of the ocean. So, she's got a long reach. A long reach.
Can you share with us one that kind of stuck with you, Adana, one that you had an aha moment for yourself? Would you be able to share anonymously, of course, a reading that you've done that you could share with us?
I'll repeat the question. She's asking you to share with her in the audience one of the 900 readings, like one of the 900 that was for you. Wow. Just like sort of an over the top.
Oh man, that's a tough question.
Yeah. Now we're 900 plus, but.
Oh my goodness. I can't even begin to recall any of them, but on the top of my head, I can remember this one lady who was moved by the accuracy of the information that combined what she already knew and had brought in with her from her home world, in addition to the new skills that she's learning on Earth, and combining both of them. And she came back and she was just in tears, saying that basically I am no longer lost, I am found. She felt like her world has ended, so to speak, because she doesn't fit in anywhere in terms of, the norm of society. And she couldn't understand at all why they do the things they do. And she doesn't have anybody to relate to in terms of, who can I talk to about my awakenings? And I just don't fit in. And when she came back with a letter explaining all of this to me, I wrote her back basically saying, you're not alone.
Yeah.
You have family coming back to reconnect with you. You have people that you could talk to on the internet or on Facebook. There are groups out there that you could connect to, because she comes from a very small town in the middle of nowhere. And so, how difficult that is for a human being to awaken, to their gifted abilities and not having a mentor to be able to help her, evolve to the next step.
Yeah.
Right, to reach out.
Right. And Barbara Jean, as you know, for those of us who live, and Adana and I live here in the Southwest again for the first time in years. So we are in the greater Sedona area. You were in California. There are people in Colorado, New Mexico, Washington, Oregon. Those states, predominantly, the people are pretty awake, and they're asking this level of questions.
Right.
Imagine all the people from around the world and the rest of the country who are starting to wake up. We're really blessed. I mean, I know that we chose to live here, but I think we're really blessed to live here, because around here in these Western states, these are normal conversations.
Right. And definitely a sense of community.
Yes.
And so I would like to say, with your StarAncestry.com, and let's talk a little bit now about your Andromeda Council, and where people, if the listeners are, let's say, in a state where they feel alone and isolated, but they feel like what you said this evening resonates with them. How can they reach you? Where's the best way to reach you? And let's also talk about your upcoming conferences, because I'm a real avid supporter of conferences, because that's when people get together and connect and hook up and exchange information, ideas. And so it's exactly what is needed for us to continue to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that you appreciate this, but it's worth saying for people who haven't attended any of these conferences yet. And I, throughout the early to mid 1990s, I attended a lot of conferences. And then because of family commitments, I didn't throughout the 2000s. But here's the point of the story. The point is that between the conference that we held in Tucson in 2016 and the different special events in 17, the conference we held in Sedona and out on the Mesa last year, Shakina's event following up after that, if you will, the most quiet of the 3 days, typically on a Sunday, we would get these people together toward the end of the day or toward the end of the conference. And there are so many of them that don't want to go home. They've discovered, if you will, brothers and sisters of a like mind and spirit. And there are lots of tears flowing because, and there's a large percent of women that go to these conferences, but they're crying because they're happy. Mm-hmm. They finally found people who understand them and resonate with what they felt to be true for so many years.
Mm-hmm. And a place where they can be safe to be themselves.
Exactly.
Good point. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, really, really good point. Mm-hmm. So last year we held the 2017 Autumnal Equinox Conference out on a mesa in Cottonwood overlooking all of these canyons and Sedona off in the distance. Star Laughing Fox grandmother, Sunny Darling. Who else was there? Oh, Cheyenne Stone was there. Lakota, Nakota, Dakota, hereditary chief, Golden Light Eagle, Bear Cloud, Bear Cloud. All of these people were at this conference last year.
Right.
And Star and Sunny had people outside early Saturday morning. They had like 35 or 40 of the, I think, 75 or 80 people that were attending. 35 or 40 of them outside doing ceremony, thanking the creator, in the medicine wheel. It was pretty amazing. And we had, of course, at that time of year, it's September, beautiful, beautiful weather, blue skies, sunshine. So third year in a row, this year it's being called The Great Awakening, Messages from Our Star Family. It's going to happen the last weekend of September, and we're going to do it at the Sedona Community Center on Friday, and then the Sedona Creative Life Center Saturday and Sunday. And so this year we have Itzitzan, who's Annette Moody, who's Apache, White Mountain.
I love him. I met him through Javier Sandoval.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, he's beautiful, beautiful being.
So Hiloha, who is Blackfoot, and Choctaw. And he's a medicine man. He's a sacred man of the land. Talented artist. Let's see. Star Laughing Fox will come back. So we have some new Native Americans that will be with us this year. Michael Horn, who's the gentleman who represents Billy Meyer, the Edward Billy Meyer Pleiades contact case. He'll be speaking. Yeah, John Polk.
I want to meet him because I'm going to be going to Switzerland, and last time I was there, I hooked up with Billy Meyer, and so I want to do an interview with him. So
yeah. We've got Michael's contact. So Michael Horn will be speaking.
Fantastic.
Let's see, who else do we have? John Polk will be one of our top speakers. Tom Dongo, who's doing work with Ancient Aliens right now. He'll be one of our speakers. And Clifford Mahudi, who is a Zuni tribal elder who knows many star secrets about the star elders of the Zuni people. And Dr. Lynn Katai from the Phoenix Lights. So we're going to,
that's fantastic. What amazing.
So we're gonna have fun again.
That energy will be crackling. Yeah. That'll be crackling there, right?
And I'm glad that we've got different people with different perspectives. It's not just Native Americans. It's not people who are nuts and bolts with UFOs and crafts and sightings. And it's not just people who have a high spiritual vibratory orientation. It's all of those. But it's not about the craft. It's about who are we? Why are we here at this time to experience what we're experiencing today? That's what I try to make all of the conferences or special events that we're doing about. It's about us and our evolution. And so, if people want to purchase tickets, I just started to officially sell them this morning. I actually did the official sell button this morning on the Transformational Shift Events website. They can go to transformationalshiftevents.com or andromedacouncil.com, and they can get to learning all the things I just said, and they can actually purchase tickets there as well. So, Donna, go ahead. She looks like she's going to say something.
One thing I always try to remind everybody is that we are all pulling together, helping each other evolve. And not only that, the people out in the audience, they have important stories to tell too. Right. That was one of the things why we held Circle, and typically at the end of the conference.
Yes.
So it gives the people a chance to open up and tell their stories, because who knows, they may not able to do it where they come from.
Right. Right. That's one of the reasons why there are no outside vendors. The speakers, the people that are speaking at the conference, if they want to bring their books or CDs or DVDs, whatever. That's, of course, an okay activity for them to do that. But I don't invite in outside vendors. This is for the people attending. This is for the speakers. And it's for the interaction between the attendees and the speakers. So as Adana was saying, we usually have like a panel in the round or some kind of session, and we're doing that on Sunday. It'll be at least 2 hours where the people can tell their stories and ask questions of the speakers and just have a quiet Q&A time. That's just pure interaction between the attendees and the speakers. And it's really valuable. People love it. They really enjoy it.
And so you're creating a circle, and I see that with your symbol that you have, Tolec, too, with the symbol. It looks like a circle with the little tabs all around it.
Yeah, that's actually the image that they showed us years ago, and I said, okay, so what's the emblem of the Andromeda Council? And they said, well, there are 12 senior members, and our contact people, even though there are senior members from star systems and home worlds in both the Andromeda constellation and Andromeda galaxy and the Milky Way galaxy, our people are from the Dakote, planet Dakote, and planet Dakote and people in the Pleiades for years have had a positive interaction with people from Earth. And the people from Dakote are the Genesis people of the Native Americans of the Western U.S., and especially the Southwest. So there you have a table in the round of representing the 12 senior council members of the what's known in deep space by the ambassadors and diplomats. It's known as the Galactic Council. Here on Earth, it's known as the Andromeda Council. But that's why it's in the round.
I love that. I love that symbol. When I saw it, ooh, something resonated with that. Briefly, can you talk just briefly, we have not a whole lot of time left, about the Galactic Council?
I sure can. I'll give you the short version because Adana's looking at me and she's got a comment. But essentially, there are 12 senior members, and there are also 300 star systems involved and 144, if you will, junior status members. And that council was formed tens of thousands of years ago, as we would try to calculate time, by an original council of 8 star systems led by the people from Arcturus, and then another star system. And they joined together to make this greater council. And it's the people that attend these council meetings are very much like the people that attend the UN. They talk about the establishment of protocols for first contact. They talk about what are the necessary requirements to become not only a new member of the Andromeda Council, but simultaneously become a new member of the Galactic Federation, because the Galactic Federation is basically the day-to-day management company of the Council. The guys in the ships that travel from star system to star system and Stargate to Stargate facilitate trade, literal trade, because there's no money. They facilitate trade, there's exchange, there's cultural exchange, there's educational exchange, there's artistic and music expression exchange. There's, of course, diplomatic exchange between all of the planets, both junior and senior status. And the planets that are members of the council that don't have senior status, they hold roles on the different subcommittees and advisory boards. The best analogy that I can provide people is that it's like a deep space UN.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I just heard someone just asking that question so loud and clear, so that's why I ask it.
Let's see.
The Pleiadians.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Adana's got a good point to make, and that is, if you look at the totality of the 900 plus people that she has provided reports for. So far, 900 plus people who have physical Earth bodies. I don't know about other people yet, but in any case, here's the breakdown. The majority of those people, is it 50% roughly, that they are from some planet in the Pleiades?
The Pleiadians are the number one group that had the most interest in helping Earth people to evolve. And then next comes the Asturian people. And then the Andromeda, both the Andromeda constellation and Andromeda galaxy, then Orion, and then Syrians. So that's the group that break down in terms of what I've discovered so far.
Yeah. The biggest numbers are Pleiades and Arcturus. Yeah. And for anybody who happens to be listening, who hasn't heard this yet, in 1 month ago in February, Joe Anthony, who is the owner, if you will, of Planets Within, is also an incredible astrologer. He and I decided to take his concept of that monthly meeting, and we're going to be having a monthly meeting every single month now, and it's called Sedona Close Encounters.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, and it'll happen. It'll happen over the course of 2 hours every third or fourth Friday of every month. Adana is doing a formal presentation next Friday night. The month after that, Tom Dongo will do a presentation. The month after that, I think it's John Polk. He'll do a presentation. Month after that, Dan Brock, who's a multi-dimensional warrior, does a lot of work in the interdimension, will be doing a presentation. So we've got somebody locally each month that'll be doing a presentation for
fantastic.
For the local people. People want to drive in from Mexico, they're welcome. They want to come up from Phoenix or Tucson, they're welcome to come up. Cottonwood, they're welcome to come up. So we're doing that all.
That sounds fantastic. And they can go to theplanetswithin.com as well, and that information's there as well. Or they would do best also to go to your Andromeda Council.com. I think it's Andromeda Council.
All three places: Andromeda Council, Transformational Shift Events, and Planets Within, for them to learn about the Sedona Close Encounters monthly event. Yep.
I love it. And then once you get that all established, then you can take it everywhere. You'll just start adding to that, right? I see a bigger picture here, a bigger vision of this.
After holding a whole bunch of events last year, including 2 conferences and a private special event. So essentially 3 events in Australia. It's expensive to produce these events. And unless you get huge numbers, like 500-600 people or thousands of people, honestly, I barely break even. Sometimes I lose. And so I've discovered it's expensive to take these things on the road.
It is. I've been there.
Yeah, that's the reality of it. But we're going to do the Sedona one. We might do an event with Atreya down in Tucson sometime this summer. That's likely. It's possible we might go to Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta.
Oh, of course. I love Mount Shasta. Everyone loves Mount Shasta. That would seem like that would be a logical segue for you.
That's a natural fit.
Mount Shasta. Yeah, it's a natural fit for sure.
Well, a lot of talk recently, but I just thought I'd turn the floor over to Donna before I go.
Yes, that's what I would like to do too. Thank you. Okay, Adana.
I think mainly the bottom line is for everybody who's listening in. If you want to contact your star family on your own, always go within. Go within your heart. Your heart's connected to the source. Trust in the source. Trust in the creator. Trust in your own self, knowing that you can contact your star family. always ask for protection, whether it's from your angels or whether it's from your guides, to secure that protection before you try to attempt to make any contact with your star family members. And when you do that, have them give you confirmation. Whatever it is that they give you, words that you don't normally use every day, or any kind of signs, manifestations. It doesn't always have to be a big hookah book of signs. It could be a little sign. It may pass you by if you don't pay attention.
Yep, well said.
To the little signs. And they will point you in the direction that you would like to go into. So that's my encouragement to everybody out there, because I've had so many people ask me, how do you do it? I said, well, it's not any different than you're talking on the telephone. You're listening, they talk, then you talk, they listen. It's the same concept. So from what I've understand from Azar, my chief medical officer, she said that they are working very hard on their end to, in accordance with the soul's agreement, among humanity. It depends on what the soul agreement is all about. Whether they're awakened now, whether they're awakened later, whether they're not awakened at all. It just depends on what they came here to do. They abide by the universal law. They cannot interfere or force anybody to do anything. It is up to you.
Okay. Thank you, Adana. Thank you so much, Tolec. And thank you to the listeners. And thank you for all the wisdom on how to contact our...
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too. Next time.
Next time.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message. Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Any commercial advertising you may hear in this program is of the sole discretion and benefit of the host of whose program you are listening to. Revolution Radio does not endorse any commercial products, nor does it accept monetary compensation for on-air advertising of commercial products, nor will it ever. We are and shall remain 100% listener supported. Any product advertising on this program are considered used at higher risk, and Revolution Radio shall not be held liable for any claims or damages received from any product advertised within this program. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Most guys freeze. That's your cerebral cortex looking for an answer it doesn't have.
See? Even your brain knows you're screwed.
The body's filling with adrenaline right now, whether you know it or not. The heart's beating fast. It's getting a little harder to breathe. The neurobiological system is telling it to run, but your knees are too weak to move.
Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. We are all telling ourselves a story.
You're You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. 100% listener-supported radio. Reporting to danger. Unafraid. Right here, where information never sleeps. Revolution. Radio.
Take a look around, kid. What do you see? Homes being foreclosed. People working 2-3 jobs just to put food on the table and still drowning in debt. Don't get me wrong. This country was founded on great ideals and principles. They've all been ruined by the banks. Open your eyes to banks that are robbing you. You know who my favorite president was? Who? Thomas Jefferson. Because he saw all of this coming and tried to stop it. He fought the banks. JFK too, and they killed him for it. The banking institution is more dangerous than an army, he said.